Welcome to Align Trading, going over today's live SPY analysis and trades before taking a look at what to be watching tomorrow. So first thing that I explained in the morning in the pre-market brief for Discord members was to be watching the 5-day moving average, which we opened right at during the day. And you can see here that I explained if we were going to head down, we would want to see some sort of structure built off of it, maybe a head and shoulder, or an inverse cup and handle like that to head down and continue grabbing this liquidity and closing this larger inverse cup. Now, like I also explained, you have to still be paying attention to the yellow and blue controlled selling right here. You can see how we are starting to taper down here at the bottom with this blue, and you have to be paying attention to this inverse head and shoulder that can start to form and close this cup back to this key level right here. And we'll go over this on the 1-minute chart as well, but you can see not only with that 5-day moving average being right here, but this green algorithm you see that we are in throughout the day until we finally start seeing that purple stronger algorithm right there giving us that cup that I talked about with that inverse head and shoulder. It took quite some time in the morning, pretty choppy, but you can see how we are continuing higher within this blue and yellow controlled selling right here. Same thing at the end of the day. We will see where this takes us, but you can see that blue and yellow controlled selling on the way up there. Now, those of you here know that this 5-day moving average right here, until we lose it, you do not want to be shorting it, because in this uptrend right here with this upper Bollinger and 5-day, as long as these continue up, we reached this upper Bollinger, right, had the sell-off back to 5-day, and if this continues, we can still be in this uptrend right here until the 5-day is lost, and then we will look for the 20-day retest, and then in that case, a longer sustained downtrend. 5 needs to cross below the 20, and from there can look for this bottom Bollinger test. So now here on the 1-minute chart, going over the microstructure and algorithms, off of the open, the 5-day moving average was right here. Now you can see that we have this yellow selling algorithm right here. Now when it comes time for this continuation, we start to see this chop right here. So if you are looking for that head and shoulder, right, there's just not any continuation to the downside, and you can see how we are starting to form this blue algorithm right here that I explained you have to be looking for if we start to taper and head up back above that 5-day moving average, and you see how that forms within that, right? We don't see anything continuing right there if you're looking for that head and shoulder and start moving higher. At this point right here, I explain if you are looking to short this, we must be back below this 5-day moving average right here, which you can see never forms. We never head back down, and we see this blue controlled selling algorithm right here on the way up, and this inverse head and shoulder if you caught that, or we're still in your runners. Now as we continue moving higher right here, this same thing with this blue controlled selling algorithm. However, we start to see this tapering up here, you can see, and start forming that head and shoulder back to the downside, and even initially lose this 5-day moving average once again right here and form that inverse cup back to it. Now we will talk about this in just a minute here at this 5-day moving average, but on the 30-minute chart as well, I'm explaining we want to be seeing this head and shoulder forming right there for that handle breaking out of this green algorithm, and you can see that we just cannot break out of it right here and cannot get below this level that we need to in order to head down. Now with this 5-day moving average right here, I was looking personally as well for this inverse cup to close at the low of day and then start to see this bounce that we started to see right here. Now that did not happen. As you can see, we could not continue forming that to the downside and start to head back above that 5-day moving average right here. Same thing as I'm explaining, if we are looking for that short again, we want to see us below that 5-day moving average, and once again we see this bounce right here with that inverse shoulder and this blue controlled selling algorithm that you can see is dominating today. So once again, right here, I explained that I am still watching for this head and shoulder to form right here, but we have to lose this 5-day moving average, and you can see that we never can fully close that inverse cup below it and continue heading down, and we once again with that blue and yellow controlled selling continue to see these inverse head and shoulders form on the way up right here. Now, right here as well, I'm explaining on the 30-minute chart that you have to be paying attention to what can be forming right here as we are still within this green algorithm. If this does start to head down, we will be able to see with that 5-day moving average that I explained. Otherwise, you can see how we're within that blue and yellow controlled selling right here and are forming this cup as well as that inverse head and shoulder to continue moving higher and closing this cup as well. Now, as we continue forming this blue controlled selling right here on the way up, I explain at 11:52. So right here that you have to wait for that 5-day moving average. Otherwise, you are at risk of being squeezed above this high of day that you can see right here. So you have to pay attention because we need to be seeing this inverse cup starting to form if that is the case to short this. And you see how this squeeze starts to form right here. Once again, blue controlled selling, we start to form that inverse head and shoulder, cup, and handle. And you can see how this starts squeezing right here and filling that cup that I talked about on the way up right here. So we're breaking out of that level, and you see how we continue moving higher within that purple. So as we continue moving up right here, I'm explaining, right, if you're looking to short this, you need to see this forming. Otherwise, we are going to start to grab this liquidity, and that is exactly what we do to that 583 area. And even here, right, if you're looking for that short, have to get below that shoulder, which we never start breaking out of that green. Now here on the 1-minute chart, same thing, right? With that blue controlled selling, you just see it as we continue moving higher on the way up right here, even at the end of the day, right? You see that blue controlled selling. However, we can just never break out of that 583 level right here, just still within that to the close. Now today I also just wanted to talk about, as I had a red day, what I did wrong. So you can see right here that this 5-day moving average that I mentioned and this head and shoulder that started to form. I was in this trade well in the green. Very, very nice trade going. And I even got below the 5-day moving average. However, I did not protect my position as I was looking for the inverse cup to close low of day. I would have taken off majority there, left some runners, but that did not form, and we formed this quickly back above the 5-day, and I was stopped out of my position. So I tried to get back in here for this head and shoulder. Took a small loss, you can see, right, went back against me again, and then same thing as well. I explained small loss here, called it a day, was not looking to chase this on the way up either, even though we are forming this blue controlled selling. I was looking for some downside. Now, I was not continuing to short this, as I explained, above this high of day right here, only if we started to form below that 5-day moving average. And you got to realize these positions are with tight stop losses, so I'm not taking a huge risk. I'm just looking for that move to the downside when it does come quickly. So like I've been saying, right, we're clearly above the 5-day moving average, so I'm not going to sit here and hold my position when we are bouncing off of it right here. But when I do see this starting to form right here, I can get that entry, still be in the green, even looking for this cup to close to take some partial profits. Or if it does go against me, right, like I'm saying, with that tight stop, then it is all good, get stopped out, whatever the case may be. But when this is clearly in the blue controlled selling right here, you're not just going to want to sit there and hold your short position hoping that this finally does give in, because look how that worked out for you. You start getting squeezed back above this high of day. Now going over what to be watching into tomorrow. So with this structure that we are forming right here, being that cup to this level, pay attention. As you can see, this possible handle forming right here, we will want to be looking for that move back to 585 right here, closing this next cup. Same thing from there, we will want to see that blue and yellow controlled selling for a handle, and then another all-time high. Blue and yellow controlled selling on the way up, as we have seen this whole way, right? So just be paying attention to that right here as that forms. If we continue that on the way up, you can see that this is a larger one as well within that blue and yellow. So be paying attention if we start to form that larger breakout once again. Now, if you are looking to short this, like I was explaining with this inverse cup right here, pay attention to this handle. It didn't form right here with that 5-day moving average, but you can see within this green algorithm, if we want to form a handle, pay attention, as this is how this can start to form right here. You can see the liquidity we have to the downside, as well as that 5-day moving average if we do want to start to dump, grabbing that liquidity and closing this larger cup right here. That is all for the video tonight, so thank you everyone for watching, and I will see members in the morning.